Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all. Hey, welcome to the main floor. I usually see you up there in the balcony. That's Camille and Jason. What's the name of your band? The Lucky Band. And they're performers, entertainers. Perhaps someday we can have you sing here. Are you going to the picnic next week?
Maybe.
Yeah, can we commit? Would you bring your guitar and sing for the group?
Sure.
Okay. Get that down, Erica. Okay. Two people were talking. The first person says to the second person, "Has your son found a job yet?" And the second person says, "Unfortunately, no. But he is meditating a lot." The first person says, "Well, I guess that's better than sitting around doing nothing all day." God, I knew it wouldn't work. I tried it out on one person and they just rolled on the floor hilariously. I tried it out on 12. I got less than a response than you. I don't know. Let's move on. Let me get serious. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about change. Change is such a big part of our life. It is just profound. And change comes in so many different forms. Take a dollar bill, for instance. You can change and get 100 pennies. You can get 20 nickels. You can get 10 dimes, $2.50. Another false try at humor. I'm striking out here. Okay, let's talk about the changes that take place in our lives. Of the changes that take place in our lives, there's two types. There's a type that we initiate ourselves. We put forth some sort of an effort to get what we want, to change something, to release what we want. We put forth an effort to increase the level of well-being in our lives. It changes that we initiate. Then there's also changes that we don't initiate. Things just happen. It's like that's life. Of the changes that we don't initiate, some are good. They're pleasant surprises. We like them. Many, many years ago, I got a letter from an attorney, and he told me that I had a great uncle Oscar that nobody in the family knew anything about. We'd never heard of him. But I had a great uncle Oscar, not to be confused with my great cousin Ozzie. I had a great Uncle Oscar, and he died. He had no immediate family, and so his estate was being divided with 18 people in his bloodline. I was one of them. I got a check for $2,800 out of the blue, out of nowhere. A change that I did not initiate, but it was good. I call those changes Uncle Oscars when anything like that comes my way. But also, there's changes that we don't initiate that we don't want, that we don't think should be happening. It's something that comes out of nowhere. And when it happens, we recoil a little bit. It's drats, darn, doggone it. Why has this come into my life? I'm sure you've all experienced that. You're moving down the road of life, and all of a sudden something happens, some change takes place that you didn't initiate. It's unexpected. You don't want it, yet it is there for you to deal with. It might be a good friend does something, betrays you, or treats you rudely. And in regards to that relationship, everything changes forever. Or unexpectedly, you get a pink notice at your job and you're unemployed. You get diagnosed with a serious illness. A relationship ends. Something tragic happens to somebody that you already love. Somebody dies, whatever it might be. Changes come into our lives that we don't initiate, that we don't expect, and that we don't want. When I was in my late teens, my brother, my father, and I went off to a big town for a new car showing. My father was a car dealer, and every year we got to go see the new models presented. And we were in this grand ballroom watching the presentation of the new cars. When somebody comes in, gets my father, takes him out. He comes back shortly and says, "Come on, boys, we have to leave." My brother and I get up, we walk out. As soon as we get out of the room, he informs us that my sister Tony had died, that she had committed suicide. And in that moment, everything changed. Life as I knew it up to that point was tipped upside down. And that tragedy had negative effects on the family. Both my parents began to engage in alcohol abuse. Their relationship became very strained. They got a divorce. I began to act out in very unhealthy ways. And every single thing just changed out of nowhere. We've all experienced things like that, where something happens and our lives change forever. Author Conan Doyle, the person that wrote Sherlock Holmes, wrote a story about a man a long, long time ago. He had been off to war. He is finally allowed to return home. It was late at night. He was on foot. He hadn't slept or eaten for a day. Finally, he comes across an abandoned house. He finds his way to the house. He goes inside, makes his way to the bedroom, and collapses on an old mattress in the corner. Well, when he wakes up in the morning, he discovers that he has slept in the house of a leper. There's quarantine signs all over. And immediately he is stricken with fear that he will get leprosy. Later on that day, as he's walking down the road, he notices white spots appearing all over his body. This confirms it. He does indeed have the deadly sickness. When he gets home to protect his family, he moves to a little shack on the far end of the property. And there he stays for 20 years, totally isolated, not communicating with anybody. Then one day he gets deathly ill. Sends for a doctor. The doctor comes, examines him, and determines that this sickness is just the flu, and he'll be better in 2 or 3 days. But also in the examination, the doctor sees the white spots, and he determines them to be harmless discoloration of the skin, probably caused by extreme fear. Now, I tell you this story because the man deprived himself of a good life. He deprived himself of joy. He deprived himself of relating to other people that he loved because he believed something that wasn't true. And the reason I share this story so often is because when something happens in our lives, some sort of an uninitiated, unexpected, unwanted change takes place, we have the habit of jumping into the worst possible scenario and beginning to think that is what's going to take place. And we're overcome with worry and fear and anxiety. I'm sure all of you can relate to this. Change comes in 2 different forms. It comes in the form that we initiate to create something good in our life. It comes in a way that we don't initiate. The change we don't initiate can be good, it can be pleasant, or it can be bad, and it can disrupt our lives. But the point of it is, our lives are problematic. Our lives have challenges. We're not immunized from challenges. That's just the way life is, but life isn't the enemy. Problems, challenges, and setbacks come to us, and as we move through them, a learning experience remains that we can utilize to improve our lives going forward. I would say that the quality of our lives today is based on the choices that we've made in the past. Would everybody agree? The choices we've made in the past are a result of our experience, an experience that left us with a valuable lesson. The experiences that have left us with a valuable lesson, in most cases, are the result of bad choices that we've made. 3 don'ts and a do. When you make a bad choice that has negative ramifications in your life, don't beat yourself up. Don't be hard on yourself. It happens to everybody. The second don't. When something happens and you make a choice that has negative ramifications, don't fight with life and curse life or curse the incident. Don't make life the enemy. That's just the way life is. And the third don't is, don't blame somebody else. Don't play the victim. Don't point a finger and saying if that wouldn't have happened, my choice would have been right. 3 don'ts. The one do is very simple. When we make a choice that doesn't work out for us, that has negative ramifications, we simply learn from it and then move forward and make sure we don't make that same mistake twice. The one thing to remember when it comes to the choices we make is that we always have the power to choose. no matter how dark or dismal the situation. That is the secret to successfully manage change in your life, knowing you always have the power to choose. And the second part of that is knowing that you always have options, no matter what. You always have options in every situation and circumstance. Your back is never to the wall to the point where you can't do anything. You have the power to choose, and with that power to choose, you have options that you can look at. So some of you are probably sitting here right now and thinking, well, it sounds good, but how come sometimes it just doesn't feel that way? How come sometimes when I'm in the middle of life and I'm dealing with a real life problem, it doesn't feel like I have any options? It doesn't feel like I have the power to choose anything else but what's in front of me. And the reason for that is because you're not thinking positively. Now, I know some of you are thinking, oh no, here we go with that positive thinking stuff. I am so sick and tired of that hardball positive thinking being thrown at me and telling me if I thought positively, everything would change. It doesn't change. Let me play pessimist here for a moment. You've heard the expression, somebody gives you lemons, make lemonade. Somebody gives you lemons, throw them back at them. Life isn't a bowl of cherries, life is a bowl of pits. And I don't care if the glass is half full or it's half empty. I want to know where the other half of the glass went. There's all sorts of reasons to be negative, and in some ways it can be kind of fun. I have a family member who simply won't engage in positive thinking at all. He doesn't want to hear anything about it. He thinks it's airy-fairy. He thinks it's pie in the sky, some fluffy-puffy, a platitude and Pollyanna way of living that isn't realistic. But I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the positive thinking that is airy-fairy pie in the sky. I'm talking about positive thinking that is scientifically researched to prove benefits. Science has proven when we move into a situation or circumstance that is very difficult, that is challenging, that is problematic, and we move into a negative train of thought, the brain actually has a mechanism that shuts us down from reviewing options. It becomes a single point of focus, and the only thing we think about is the problem. That's scientifically proven. Positive thinking is exactly the opposite. When we think positively, the brain has a mechanism that opens up to possibilities, to different options that we might have. And there's always options, as we always have the power to choose. Positive is defined as the presence of something rather than the absence of something. Positive thinking, the presence of options and possibilities. Negative thinking, the absence of options and possibilities. When we think positively, we move forward and open ourselves up to ideas, to solutions, to different avenues that we can move down to get beyond whatever it is that's plaguing us. Think of it this way. You're moving down the path of life, everything is hunky-dory, you're having a good time. All of a sudden a situation or a circumstance comes up and it is demanding of you, it is problematic, it is challenging, and it puts you in a space where you really feel like you're confined. Imagine yourself in a dark room. You don't know how you got there, you don't know how you're going to get out, but you know the reason that you're in there, and that's because of this problem you're dealing with. In the room, there's two doors. One door is marked negativity, one door is marked positiveness. You go to the negativity door, you open it, you step in, you close the door behind you, there you are, all alone in the dark, and it's a closet. You're feeling more confined. You're feeling more pressured. You're feeling like you have absolutely no hope. You feel helplessness. You are just there with no light at all. Or you go to the other door, marked positiveness, and you open that up, and you discover that's the way out of the room, and it opens up to a vast field of options and possibilities and solutions that help you move way, way beyond whatever it is that you're dealing with. Now, once again, you have the power to choose when you find yourself in that room. We call it the room of burdens. When you find yourself in that room of burdens, the dark doom and gloom room, you have the power to choose which door you're going to go out. And the way you know which door to go out is because the door that's marked positivity has just the smallest glimpse of a light come in there where the door meets the floor. It's just a speck of light. But it's there and you can see it, and that's what you move towards. You move towards the light becomes greater. The greater the light becomes, the greater your options. The greater your options, the quicker you move through whatever it is, and you learn from the situation and circumstance. The next time you have a problem, a challenge, a setback of any sort, the next time something is bringing you down, you feel like you're in the dark, doom and gloom room of burdens, just imagine yourself in that room. Imagine yourself looking for that small sliver of light. Imagine yourself moving towards it. Imagine yourself opening up the door. And imagine yourself staring at a field of possibilities and options. And they'll be there. You will find exactly what you need to move yourself through. As we move into meditation, think of something positive in your life. If you're dealing with a problem, a challenge, or a setback right now, think of solutions. Know that you have the power to choose. Know that there are options that you can choose from. But most of all, know that you're bigger than the problem. It can't defeat you. It can't hold you back. It can't deprive you of your life. You have everything you need to move beyond it. We now move into meditation. As we move into meditation, I invite you to take a deep breath, hold it for a moment or two, then slowly exhale. And do that once again. And as you exhale, feel your body become totally relaxed. And for a moment, just breathe in and breathe out. Knowing in this moment you don't have a care, you don't have a concern, you don't have a crisis. You are just here, now, living your life, experiencing you in the midst of it all. When unexpected change comes into our life that's problematic, unwanted, and challenging, we have two choices. We can pitch a tent in the valley of the shadows and reside in anger, pain, fear, resentment. Or we can move on. Life moves on, and we can move with it. And with that movement, a healing takes place. We leave yesterday to yesterday. Experience today to the fullest, and have great hopes for tomorrow. For life is a movement, it is a process, it is a continuum of change, some pleasant, some not so pleasant, but it's all part of our lives. It's all part of what we're here to experience. We now rest in the knowing that all is well, that life is what it is, we are what we are, and we're always on a path to our higher good.
in the silence. The quality of our lives is shaped by our power to choose. Successful living is a result of good choices. Good choices are the result of learning experiences. And learning experiences are usually the result of bad choices. It is one formula. Try, fail, learn, succeed, which results in a step forward, a step to our higher good. And so it is.